Hello, welcome everyone. I want to introduce my good friend Lynet, who is a motivational speaker. She is super bubbly and has a ton of energy, and she has amazing talents from singing to dancing to being a customer service professional. And I just want to let you know that she's an amazing supporter of women and Thrive with Mentoring, and I'm super excited to hear her talk today. So over to you, Lynet.
Thank you so much, Alison, for that, energetic intro. So since you've introduced me with so much energy, I'll make sure that I just keep it there. Thrive with Women Mentoring Program supporters and the women who are in this mentoring program, I welcome you all to this live session on LinkedIn, where we are going to delve deeper into the topic of purpose setting. I know it's at the core of everyone's, being and really the reason for our existence, and that's why I really chose this topic today. So the Thrive with Women mentorship program family, welcome on board, and I hope you will just interact with the discussions this evening or the day from wherever it is that you are. So allow me to just share my screen before I delve into the topic. Present screen. And there you go. So we are really going to talk about purpose setting, and purpose really, it gives us direction on our lives and where it is that we really want to go. As you can see that arrow, it just points us to where we really want to go. And this is informed by our reason for existence. So if you're a human being, why on earth were you born? Why on earth are you here? So we'll just get into some of those discussions. And, it's usually said that we could be alive, but not everyone is living. And we all know that. We could just be, going about our duties, surviving and not thriving, so to speak. And therefore, it's very important that we, as much as we are alive, that we are actually living life and enjoying everything that comes with it. So what is it that takes to really live? Just not being alive and surviving, but really live and thrive. Right? So we'll be getting to those discussions. And did you know that most people have regrets on their deathbeds? Research has shown that, many people on their deathbeds, for those who are, privileged enough to be able to give their last wishes, always look back at their lives. It's like they get this synopsis of their lives and they wonder, what would I have done differently? What would I have done better? Did I live my life to the fullest, so to speak? Is there anything that I will go that I have not fulfilled? So many, and I think with that, synopsis of the whole life that one has lived, if it wasn't lived well, then there are so many regrets, right? And the most common regret is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself. If I could just pause here for a minute and have us thinking, how many of us really live a life that is true to themselves? In this world and in this day and age, we are bombarded with so much information. There's information everywhere. And just because we've gone digital, we even have more access to so much information. And that somehow informs our mindsets, informs our thinking. And sometimes we conform. And in the conformity, we negate that which we truly are. So the big question is, do we want to ask ourselves this question at the end of time? Like, I wish I had the courage to live a life that is true to myself. So we'll get into that as you ponder on this question. Are you living a life that is true to yourself? Right? And do you have a clear purpose that you could say out loud right now that you know about? If it's a yes, is it like really straightforward, or it's in a maze? You kind of have an idea, but the more you think you're getting out of the maze, the more you find yourself in another tight corner, and you kind of just wonder, what is this about life? And the reality is, research has again also proven that 98% of people really do not know what their purpose is. And maybe that just informs the very few people who've made it at the top, and those are the people who've either won Nobel laureates or the people who are out there, the outliers who've really made a difference in this world, because probably they had the courage to step out, in this confined, conformed zone and go out and make a difference. And that makes the 2%. So are we in the 98%, or do you want to strive to be in the 2%, or are you in the 2%? So let's delve deeper into these questions. And what really is the purpose of life? Most people will ask at some point, why am I here? I don't know if you're there. I know personally, I've asked myself, not once, not twice, like, why am I here? Why on earth am I here? What is it that I was brought on this earth to do? Is it just to come, live life, do life working, or starting a family, or starting a business, and then being friends with people, and then you're out of this life? It can be a scary question or a thrilling one. It can be really scary if you have no idea, but really thrilling if you're really living life and you're thriving and you found your purpose and you're going into it. So leaning into the discomfort of this existential question can lead to a better sense of self and more rewarding paths forward. So really, purpose forms the core of our existence, why we were really created. We are billions of people on this earth, probably more than 7 billion. And each one of us who has been created uniquely, and we each have a role to play while we are here on earth, right? So a life without a clear purpose is like driving with no destination and no directions. Can you imagine just starting out life, and just saying, you know what, I don't really care about this thing going called about purpose. As long as I'm full, I'm whole, I'm healthy, let me go about life. Wherever life takes me, I'm good. But the only problem is, like, it's like driving with no destination and no directions, right? So, and the problem with that is that you could end up anywhere. You could end up anywhere. And the problem is, if you could end up anywhere, then you shortly realize, oh my goodness, this is not where I wanted to end up. And then you turn and you start heading a different direction, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is not where I wanted to be at. And then you keep turning, and soon you'll run out of gas and experience a regrettable death, because you've just been running around in a vicious cycle, not quite grasping the really core of who you are, right? So a life with a clear purpose is like driving with a magic GPS. I know we can all relate to this because you're very highly dependent on GPSs, right? So it's like driving with a clear purpose is really driving with a magic GPS. You know the starting point, you know exactly where you want to go, and you know where you'll end up in. And in essence, this is, I know it's not as straightforward as the GPS probably shows it right here, but the thing is, if you know your purpose, you will walk towards it, and while you're walking towards it, you'll definitely get to where it is that you want to end up. I know in life there's no destination, where it's really a journey and a process. We don't quite say we have reached. So we couldn't, the GPS would not be the best, but in terms of just giving the direction, I think it's the best to just show how we could end up where it is that we want to end up. And remember that even with a purpose, you still have to switch lanes, isn't it? Life is not a straightforward line, you just don't walk from here and you're going to get there. We have to be very adaptable to life. There are challenges every day, things that really come to either like get us off our lane, or things that come to distract us. And these things would even be just genuine things. They could be sicknesses, they could be death of a loved one, they could be lack, of even money. So when all these things come, even though they distract us, they could make us switch lanes a little bit, but we have to adapt to them while we are trying to really survive them and then refocus, right? So we have to seek alternative routes at some point. Even though you find roads are closed for one reason or the other, maybe you're experiencing challenges, there's always a detour. If you're walking around, as I say, there are straight roads, but remember, with roads, there are roundabouts. With roads, there are stop signs. With roads, there are bumps. So, and that's just how life is. There's no way you can start and just end up, when everything is just happy-go-lucky. That would be a lie. But at the end of the day, we have to really be agile, while, yes, keeping the focus, and always seek alternative routes. Because the danger is when we are faced with challenges and we just say, man, I'm done, this thing, it's pointless. I'm not going to even bother with it. then we miss out on our purpose. But if we seek detours, if we seek alternative routes, if we go around, go under, go over, the obstacles of life, I think we'll get into our purpose, right? So, and this really takes, fueling up or recharging, taking some time off. And I've kind of discovered that, when you have these light bulb moments and have all these ideas that come up, it's usually those times when you're easy on a vacation or just having a good time, and really recharging in whatever sense you would like to do that, just depending on your hobbies, is a very good way to always gather ideas, to reflect upon your life, to, refocus yourself, and just get impetus to keep you going. So it's very important, because also you need a whole mind, and a very healthy mind, so to speak, to be able to achieve your purpose, right? So, but at least your life purpose will get you to your destination eventually, isn't it? So you, even though you start and you experience all these challenges, if you are agile, and if you are focused and you're energetic and you're resilient, and you're enduring, and you just keep going and never give up, eventually you will get to your purpose, right? So why is it really important to find our purpose? Why is this, existential question very important in finding our purpose? It's very important because, number one, it boosts our health. It's been studied and said that people who have a clear purpose are healthier and are 240% less susceptible to develop Alzheimer's. So it's because you're energetic, you're vibrant, you're alive, you're happy, you're not stressed out. So it really boosts our health, because we know that we are living our lives fully, and not wondering about, why am I here? Whatever I'm doing, is it adding up? I don't enjoy what I'm doing. So really finding our purpose helps to boost our health. The other thing that it helps us to do is achieve our goals faster, right? People with a clear purpose are more successful. And as I'd given the example before, that if you start by going anywhere, you'll end up anywhere, or everywhere, for so to speak. And if you it's like a rolling stone that gathers no moss, if you remember that proverb, so to speak. So you want to be in a place where you are, you know that this is the way that you need to go, and you come up with, a perfect plan, of how you're going to go about it, mitigating factors, the resources that you need. So you're not everywhere wandering, but you're very clear on where it is that you want to go. And as a result, people who have a clear purpose are really more successful. And that's why they're in the 2% of the, population in the world today, because they are the people who have made a difference in this world. And they really, so to speak, call the shots in how the things are, right? So again, the third benefit is, you make better decisions, because everything comes down to one simple question: is this decision aligned with my purpose in life, right? So you're very clear. It just gives you clarity. You're not everywhere trying everything, but you're just very clear. Like, this is the way I want to go. So even with all the distractions, and as I said, the noises that come from every corner, and the things that are trendy or even look cool, or you're very clear that, what, fine, I know they are doing that, but this is the way. So it helps you to even make better decisions, right? And really, you're happier because you're fulfilled. Studies have shown that knowing your purpose makes you happier, and you're motivated because you live an energetic life. You feel like you're fulfilled. You're happy to wake up in the morning, and gearing and driving to go. And it doesn't matter that it's hard work, as we've said, but really you're happier because you're living a more fulfilled life, right? And you live longer. People who define their life purpose live longer on average. I think this is to do with no stress in life, really, because if you're living a happy life, you have a good health, and you're living with energy, and you're living with an outward look of, everything is possible, and you can conquer whatever it is that comes your way. So in essence, all this just leads to a very good life, and you can live longer because of good health, right? And you're not stressed out. So the big question is, how do you find your purpose? How How do we find our purpose, really? Because majority of us are like, yes, Lynette, you have told us all these nice things that, we can benefit from in life. And yes, some of you might even be worried and wondering, my goodness, you mean there are very few people in life who've discovered their purpose? And why is that? But the big question why we are here today is purpose setting. So why do we find, how to find our purpose in life is centered around, for me in this discussion, I've just narrowed it down to 3 pillars in your life, right? And these 3 pillars are your passions, are the opportunities, are the skills, right? And the sweet spot is where all these three are, intertwining or are intersected, right? So, and people always ask, like, so what is it to do with skills? With skills are everyday activities that you get involved in. So, and in the everyday activities, there are those that you really enjoy doing, there are those that you don't like doing. And those that you really enjoy doing, then you find that is driven by your passion because you really, really enjoy them. And then because you really like to enjoy them, what happens, therefore, is that people begin to recognize you for this outstanding work or whatever it is that you're doing. And then people keep referring you, and that's where you get the opportunities, right? So when you start being referred and people, you're singled out as that one outstanding person in this area, and that's where the opportunities come. So really, that's it, the 3 pillars in our lives, right? So if you're able to answer these questions, what's important to you, really? What's really important to you? And why is it important to you? And this really is driven by your value system, how you grew up, what it is that your outlook towards life, the things that really matter to you. Are you really invested in some certain topics, discussions, or activities, or, things that really are important to you? And then also ask yourself why, because the motive is very important. And I know why I say about motive is because, we can do things for various reasons. We can do things to earn a living, which is okay. We can also do things to be famous, which is fine. We can also do things to make a difference, which is fine. So you just really need to understand what's really important to you. Yeah. And then what are you good at? What are you good at? It's those skills that you've singled out that and that people, are telling you that, you're really good at this, even though sometimes you really don't know, because people always ask that, how then do I know that this is my purpose? If you, in your quietness, if you can listen to the things that people single out that you're really good at, then those are the skills that you're good at, and those are the things that could be leading you to your purpose. So what are you really good at? And then always ask yourself this big question, which for me is the most important: how could the world be improved? And then find an overlap in all those three. How could you improve the world, with this? So again, what's important to you and why? That's the first question that you need to really ask. And then, what are you really good at? What is that thing that people keep telling you that you're really good at this, even though you don't believe it sometimes, or even though you're really not drawn to it? It's because it's so effortless. And if you have imposter syndrome like me, you're always asking yourself, have I done it well enough? But yes, I mean, that could really be your purpose. And then how could you change the world? How could the world be improved as you're going about living out your purpose? And then find an overlap for that. Yeah. So we have people who have demonstrated this. In Africa, we have Nelson Mandela, who was an anti-apartheid revolutionary who spent 27 years in prison to fight human rights abuses. He was the former president of South Africa. He became a worldwide symbol of resistance to apartheid in South Africa. So we all know about Nelson Mandela, and this is what he had to say: support what respects and enhances freedom. And for him, that was his life purpose, to just support what respects and enhances freedom. And he lived for that. He was ready to die for that. He spent 27 years in prison for that. And these are some of the things that really define your purpose. Because again, as I said, are you that person who, people really are directing you or see certain things about you, instead of second guessing yourself, I would advise that you get deeper into it because it's effortless for you. And sometimes, as human beings, I know we like to do the hard things. So, because the hard things are somehow the cool things. But as I said, we are very unique and we are very different. And probably what you is very easy or comes very easy and automatically to you does not come easily or automatically to me. So I always, as a leader, the one thing that I've been able to do is to allow people to play their roles in the strengths with their strengths, so instead of having everyone just bundled up and if everyone do the report, and maybe some people are not good in producing reports or analyzing, so I give those people who those things come easily to do those reports. There are people who are very good in presenting, public speaking. So again, the people who are drawn to that, give them those roles or give them those opportunities. So I think that as leaders, we could challenge ourselves that way to make people, thrive in their areas of their giftings, right? Because we, as leaders, we see what people like to do, or we see the excellent work that they produce. And I think we need to, dig more into that to bring out the, so to speak, diamond, in the rough, right? So Nelson Mandela is one of those. We also have another one that is all known to us, Martin Luther King. Yeah, so Martin Luther King was an American Baptist minister, activist, humanitarian, and leader in the African American civil rights movement. He's best known for his role in the advancement of civil rights using nonviolent civil disobedience based on his Christian beliefs. And his purpose was really to unite people and promote equality. And I mean, he is known worldwide. Even long after he's gone, it's the one thing that people keep referring to. When Martin Luther King was here, he wanted to unite people and promote equality, and this was his dream. We all know about the "I have a dream" that one day, so that was his purpose, and he lived it. He lived it, died, and many years later, the legacy or his legacy lives on, right? And we also have Dr. Eric Thomas. This is an American motivational speaker, author, and minister. Speeches by Thomas have been widely viewed and are popular on YouTube. So, what was Dr. Eric Thomas' purpose? His was make people reach their full potential regardless of their past. I can identify with that because this is what I'm all about. I'm all about unlocking people's potential. So, Dr. Eric Thomas, I'm walking in your footsteps, right? So, look, it's simple. It's very simple. You have two options in your life, and you have two options of either living or existing. And living is not like really doing the adventurous things like he's doing. That's just an example there, but it's really thriving, so to speak. It's going out there, it's facing your fears, because fears hold us back and we self sabotage, and we ask ourselves questions like, what if it fails? I dare, encourage you to just step out there and do it. If it fails, it fails. If it works, it works. At least you'll be happy that you tried and failed and not failed to try, right? So it's important that we step out and have the courage to really face our fears, because we all fear. It's not easy, as you've seen, to be outstanding in this world. You can imagine whether it's Michael Phelps with his swimming, legacy, or whether it's Michael Jordan with his basketball legacy, or whether it's Oprah Winfrey with her talk show legacy, or whether it's Eliud Kipchoge in Kenya, yes, our marathon runner in the world. We all see that there's one thing that's very common with all these people. They really work hard. They go out there. It's for sweat and tears. In fact, it's even said that success is 80% perspiration and 20% talent. So guess what? It's not just enough to find your purpose, right? You have to perspire. You have to really put yourself out there. You have to work hard. You have to work at it. You have to push. You have to overcome the challenges. You have to endure. You have to be creative. You have to reinvent yourself, to outlive this legacy, right? So you have two options. Take it the easier way, bundle up with the 98% of the people in the world and just exist, or you have an option to really step out and live, right? And as the thrive with the TWM family, Thrive with Women Mentoring, I dare, urge us to just go out there and really live, and not exist, right? So who do you want to be? Or what do you want to be remembered for? Those are some of the key questions that I leave you with today, that even as you live, just ask yourself this question: who do you really want to be, and what do you really want to be remembered for? And I think if you are able to ask yourself these two questions, you'll be on your way to, living your purpose, because then there's that greater calling. Like, what do you want to be remembered for? So you'll be able to rise above the noise and really, center yourself and ask yourself those questions, like, what is it that you really want to be remembered for, right? And who do you want to be? So these are some of the quotes that I found in the internet as we wind up. Really, passion is the result of action and not the cause of it, right? So what this says is that you have to get into action. It's not the cause. You don't. Passion is not the cause of your purpose. It's not. It's the other way, is really to get into action, start doing things. And I know many people ask, then how will I know my purpose? Get into action. Start. Just start doing anything, and then just start listening to what people are identifying as you are really good at, or even start checking yourself and trying to understand yourself, like, what is it that I really enjoy doing? What is it that when I do, even if people, I'm not paid, for example, um, I would just do it happily, or when I wake up in the morning, this is the one thing that I would always go to. Yeah. And I would not have to question what I'm doing in life. Right. So if passion is really the result of action, so act, get active, start doing things, start involving yourself, start volunteering, start reading books, and challenge yourself, because the thing with purpose is that even though your purpose is, like, for example, I'll use myself as an example. I know that my purpose is to unlock potential, but the big question is, how do I lock that potential? So I needed to get into action, because I love to unlock people's potential, and I love that people will live in their purpose. So some of the things I've been doing, as I told you, as a leader, I make sure that I'm very deliberate to really identify the things that people are good at and make sure that I align them in their strengths. The second thing that I do is that I am able to, challenge myself in various places. For example, where is it that I can unlock potential other than just being in a leadership place in the workplace? Volunteering, going to hospitals, talking to people, going to schools, talking to students. And then from the questions that they ask, I'm like, oh my goodness, those are really deep topics. Maybe I need to research more on that, because then if I'm not able to research and overcome the obstacles for which they're asking me, then I will not be able to unlock their potential. You see? So it's by delving deeper into action, and even like talks like this, being able to be a motivational speaker, standing in front of people, it's not always easy. I always have butterflies just right before it. But once I get into it, I am like flying and rolling, right? But at the end of the day, it's getting into action. And I keep exploring different avenues of unlocking that potential, whether it's in volunteering, whether it's in reading resources, whether it's in presenting, like in forums, whether it's in identifying talents in the people that, I'm leading. So it's in various aspects that once you get into action, then you're able to kind of improve, like you have incremental benefits every time you get into your purpose, and it keeps revolving, evolving, and it just becomes a bigger thing than you can even imagine. I have no clue where this unlocking people's potentials will take me, but all I can tell you and promise you is watch out for Lynet. Just watch out. I know, because that's what getting into action, it just brings more beautiful things. It revolves, it becomes better. You're a better person, you're an improved person, you have a better mindset, you have a more positive outlook towards life. And with that, you even attract more. And with the more comes growth. So I don't know what that is, but I just know it's going to be a beautiful thing. So while you're watching my space, I'll be watching yours too. And then learning and discovering who you are is a process and not a destination, as I said. So it's simply because in this life and in the journey of life, we are faced with many things. It's not a straightforward path. So with every with every celebration or anything that we have been able to achieve comes celebration. But with challenges, sometimes they come sometimes as a distraction, or depending on how we look at them, if we overcome, then we become better people and we are built. So it also helps what purpose finding and purpose setting does. It also really helps you to really delve deeper and really discover who you are. And it's a process, it's a daily process. And I always say the day I've reached my destination is the day I've died. I'm dead, because then I know that there'll be nothing else left for me to do. But for as long as I'm living, every day is a new day. There's something out there to learn. There's someone out there waiting for me to just go and give them a fresh word that will probably just change their lives for the rest of their lives. So it's a destination, and it's a journey, and therefore we need to learn to just trust the process, right? So that will give us resilience, because sometimes when we don't quite achieve the things that we want, we give up and you're like, it's pointless. But we need to keep at it. We need to keep going. And then the more you understand yourself, the more you will discover yourself. I mean, there's never an end. It's simply what I've really said, right? So you can get more on this. You can go to these blogs and be able to find them. www.betterapp.com, blog Finding Purpose, Wake Up Foundation. I mean, there's a lot of material. These are just two that I used, but there's a lot more that you can go out there and be able to use. So I think that's it from me. It's been amazing to just be with you, Asha. I now hand over back to you. Thank you so much. And I hope today you've learned something. So go out there and just ask yourself, what is it that you really want to be remembered for? Yeah. And get going. It's possible. Many people have done it. So I wish you all the best as you keep going in this amazing journey. There's never an end to it. As long as you're alive, you have no excuse. So just keep going. And I believe everything will be well. So Asha, back to you. I don't know if there are questions, but you can hit me up on my LinkedIn. Yeah, so if there are any further questions, but I'll now hand over to you, Asha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynette. That was a fantastic session. And I think a lot of people agree on the comments as well. We've had almost the entirety of our Nairobi cohort members, mentors, and mentees coming and commenting on the post, saying how
Awesome.
happy they are to be attending. Caro has come and said, "You're such an inspirational woman," which I totally agree with. And we have a lot of appreciative comments. I don't think we have any questions, but people have had amazing takeaways, and I think it's been a really great session. Thank you for
Awesome.
that.
Thank you.
In case anyone has any questions, you can leave it on this post, and Lynette, or I will be making sure that Lynette gets to know about the question and we'll answer it on the post itself. But I guess other than that, we're wrapping up, and we will see you in the next Mentor Look session. Bye. Thank you for joining.